And what's up? What's up? What's up? What happened this week?
El Maestro speaks.
El Maestro speaks.
El Maestro speaks.
Podcast.
And we are recording. So, how are you? What happened this week? What happened this week? All right. So, yep. Just talking about things. I was listening to, and for those who are listening abroad, and trying to, or those who are listening to some tips and some histories. Yeah, we'll be having a lot soon. But I was just listening to some podcast while doing household chores. Because if you're a married one, you're married man, that's what you do. Yeah. You contribute, of course, to yep, to doing chores in the house, right? You don't leave it to all. You don't leave it to the wife. You gotta do your part too. Uh, just to show appreciation, especially if you have a baby uh, and all the effort, the sacrifices and you, the efforts that wives do, especially when you have a baby, at night especially, sleepless nights, just feeding the baby is just, it's a lot of effort, and what we can only do is just a husband is do little things that we can to help. So doing household chores, one of them. And while doing household chores, I was listening to a podcast, and of course, it is still a hot topic this week. The corruption issue, the ghost project that was made by the DPWH. Yeah. You don't count the cost. No, we have to count the cost. They're talking about those ghost projects. Ghost project, it means it's not existing. It's not existing. Nowhere to be found. You can't see ghosts. Yeah, with the exceptions of you who have already seen one. You cannot see ghosts, and these projects. It's not a real thing. You cannot find them. And what is so insulting here is that they took the money already. It's blatant robbery, and it's so blatant that they're not afraid to do it. They've been doing it multiple of times, and I think they thought they won't get caught. Well, now because of some political pressures, they got caught, and still they are finding some they are trying to find some loopholes so they can get past this. I don't know if they can. I don't know if they can get past this unscathed, but for sure, there are those people with like less connections in the government that will be suffering a lot, for sure.
Remember when old ones died and you were born, life was strange. This is
And while listening to that podcast, it was amazing. And then this is one of those, just to set the scene of podcasting here in the Philippines now. And it's so funny because everyone is doing it. Everybody now is doing podcasting. Like even the national journalists. Well, it's not prohibited. Everyone can do it, right? So even the journalists now are dipping their toes on podcasting. Yeah, just regretting those years that I didn't push through with this. And also because since I started this in 2015, if if I would have done it like regularly, like I'm doing it right now, like doing it weekly, I don't know, maybe I've created 1,000 episodes already. It was just like talking nonsense, and not 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 really worrying about if there's gonna be someone who will be listening. It's not supposed to be a goal, right? Just do the things you have to do. Just sharing your thoughts, just logging the thoughts that you have, and speaking with the people, and that's what I'm trying to do now. Trying to be as consistent as I can, so we can fill up those years that we have lost. Anyway, it's just amazing to see. Just this journalists are now finding the podcast is another avenue of sharing their thoughts, right? Because you can do podcast with just unlimited time. Because you don't need to have a time limit. You're not constrained with, well, at least in my case, I'm not constrained with the producer because I'm the one producing it. I'm not I'm not being beholden to any sponsors. Well, if there are people sponsoring it, it's just that they like the show, they want to help. That's why sponsoring it. And the one you're seeing right now, the Saint Lucie. Okay, they're sponsoring it through sharing their offices is sometimes a venue for recording. So that's the only sponsorship that they're giving. Like them salt port also, car maintenance, and more. So I'm not beholden to them. I'm not in agreement that I have to talk to someone, or I have to be in to act in a way. No, no, no. There's nothing like that. So yeah, I'm free to do what I want to do in this podcast, and that's the beauty of podcasting. I think that this journalist, have noticed and had been observing. That's why they're trying to enter the field. And welcome to the world of podcasting. And what's great is that they already have their audience, right? Yeah, and this good old boy is just happy to be here. May not be the number one podcast, but it's just so happy to be here, an avenue where we can share thoughts. Yeah, and I was listening to the podcast, one of the most famous, let's say, least famous, famous journalist, known pillar of the journalism in the Philippines. This has her podcast, and they were talking about this corruption issue, and one of the guests said that one of the best way to fight corruption like this is if we use our platform and we talk about it, okay, through our blogs or posts or TikTok videos. If we talk about this corruption and we show this corrupt officials that we know what's happening, and we can hold them accountable through our content, then we are doing something right. Making a noise about corruption is helping. It's showing to these people that we know what's happening. All right. So it's one way. It's not the end all be all, but it's one way of fighting corruption. That's why, yeah. And when I heard that, I told myself, yes, she's right. She's right in a way. So that's why I am also talking about this. I'm not supposed to be talking about it. I am the least informed person when it comes to politics. I don't have a lot to say. I'm not an expert, but she's right when she said that if we are going to use our platform, no matter how small it is, and talk about this, just to raise awareness, right? That there is this thing happening, then in a way we are fighting corruption, right? Of course, added to that are some measures like people now, or there are some lawmakers proposing the use of blockchain blockchain technology. I don't understand. How are we going to explain blockchain? Just think of it this way. I talked to some expert and they said that just think of it this way, that it's like a notebook. It's like a notebook that uh, we can see, all of us can see. Let's say we are 50 people in the room, and all of us can see this notebook, right? And one block, you can write, one page is one block. So you can write anything there, and all those 50 people can see it, right? Now, if you erase something and change it, all of those 50 people will know. And if you can write in that page too, the page will be called block, and people can see it. So you write, other people can write, and if it's full, it's gonna lock itself. You cannot edit anything there, but you can read the data, right? Now, if you try to change something there, like to erase something, everybody can see it. So that's one block, and then the one page is called one block, and then you add another page, it's another block, and then you connect it together. That's why it's called blockchain. That's how they explain blockchain to me. Well, a stupid guy. That's why they use that analogy. And it's very, very clear. Yeah. So blockchain, using the blockchain technology in processing data in government, that is accordingly will fight corruption itself. So yeah, we have this technology right now. Why not use it, right? Why not use it? So that's what I want to see. What's what I want to see. People trying to, let's say, change what's happening right now. And yeah, why not use technology? Why not use technology to fight these irregularities in the government? Because in my case, the only thing I know, so we can stop this one, is a total, like what I've been saying in the past episode, is that we have to totally change the system, right? They'll change the constitution and everything, right? And that's second to impossible to do. It is second to impossible to do, right? So, yeah, why not integrate technology, the AI, right? So, one of the things that I heard in that podcast that I listened to a while ago is that because the budget of the entire country here in the Philippines is being planned by the Congress, the lower Congress, which are the representatives of provinces, and the upper Congress, which are the senators, right? That's why they have they are calling the bicameral, wherein both of those houses will go and work on it after some proposals from the lower Congress was approved. Now, accordingly, there are some insertions. Insertions. The word is a little bit double meaning. Yeah, there are some insertions that was, at least for last year, that was done by some lawmakers. Yeah, still the insertion gets me. Anyway, so insertions are illegal. It should be discussed by the Congress, right? So these insertions happen during the bicameral meeting, or in this the counterpart of those people creating the budget in the lower Congress in the Senate will meet with these people in the Congress. They'll talk about it, And at those times, some insertions are happening. And some after that, some senators will just sign the budget without even looking at it. This is very evident because according to the Constitution, there should be no blanks on the budget list. I mean, on the paper where you have to exactly pinpoint or write the exact amount or the exact budget that is needed for something. So and so, right? Now, the last budget that was signed by the both houses of Congress, there are some pages that were blank. That, if that is blank, they can easily put an amount there after everything was signed, right? So that's dangerous and it's not allowed by law. So, that is one evidence that some of them or most of them didn't read the budget proposal before they signed it, right? And you cannot blame them because according to people who knows what's happening in the Congress, the budget is this thick. It's like an almanac or a dictionary thick. So just imagine that. You cannot, if you're rushing, you cannot just see things there that is irregular. It's very difficult. You need time to study it, right? That's why there is another senator that proposed why not put it in soft copy and put it in AI. AI can detect it. And he's right. Text-based AI right now are very good at detecting things. You can use Google Notebook, and I think there are some also research AIs that can be used to find irregularities, right? So, yeah, the use of technology, I guess, can mitigate this one. Right?
He will come and say.
All right. Just checking my mic because I just bought this one. And my last episode, I think it's not working. Yeah, and for those who have listened to that episode, forgive me for that. I have not checked it. Should I known that is the case? Oh my god. Yeah, so that's the difficult thing about working this long, right? But anyway, all for the listening pleasures of you, my friends. That's why we're doing this. Anyway, another thing they said that we can use to fight this corruption is this through this. We, the people, should be informed about the budget. We should learn what's happening. How is it being talked about when they're talking about? We should learn, right? And why? Because the budget they're talking about is a part of it is our money. A big chunk of it is our money. It's very unfair to say yeah, and I'm guilty of this sometimes. When we say that, we are the only ones, the ones that are working, right? We're the only ones paying taxes now. Actually, yeah, if we come to think of it, these people also who are, you just buy something from the store that already has a tax, right? Those who are smoking, they buy a pack of cigarette. That one has like EVAT or extended value added tax and the sin tax, right? That's why it's so expensive now. Yeah, how did I know? I don't know. You try to guess. Anyway, yeah, so every one of us, each one of us, whether you have a job or not, whether you're the lowest of the low in the social status, social hierarchy, you're still paying tax. And that would make you be more, if you are the one at the lowest of the low like me, that would make you be more, that should make you be more more alert and should give more attention to what's happening in the budget, because instead of using that money to buy your food for the next meal, you're paying tax. You're giving something to the government that is not being used correctly. So you have to be more involved, right? So involving ourselves, learning a lot on knowing how the budget is being planned for our country. It's very important. We have to get involved. To be involved, okay? Learn, like what I kept on saying here, and I kept telling my students that learning everything right now, nowadays, is so easy. It's at the tip of your fingertips. It's at your hand. You can just Google anything right now. Okay? What's the best part now is that if you cannot understand English, you can Google it in Tagalog. Yeah. Aside from that, you can use AI. You can ask AI, and best thing about that one is AI will explain it to you in details and can really simplify things for you. Yeah, one of the best gifts of this generation is that artificial intelligence, right? So there's no excuse. You cannot say that we can use excuses. We're too busy. We cannot do. We don't have time to, to check those things. We need time to that we have to use our time in gathering food for our children. We get working for children, working for our family, right? But then, yeah, you have to give time, because this is our future. This is the future of your children you're talking about here, right? If this keeps on going, I am pretty sure that our entire country will collapse 10, 30 years from now if this keeps on going, you know? And, yeah, it's the sad thing. Because the saddest thing here is that this issue just became so noisy, just because the Congress is starting to deliberate a budget for next year. And I am not sure if the noise of this issue will be sustained after the deliberation of budget is done. After the budget is done, will this still be like a hot trending topic in our country? Right? So some of these politicians here, like, just keeping their mouth shut and just waiting for the issue to die a natural death, letting it just cool down, right? Okay. And I am also not sure that after the investigations, a lot of investigations that's been happening right now, there's ghost projects that happened for this past 3 years, and I'm not really sure if the investigation is going in or trying to achieve something for that matter. Like, look at this. It is. Okay, let's just say they're alleging that Congress, lower in the high Congress, is linked to this corruption issue, ghost project issue, that some of the members of the higher and lower Congress, the senators and the congressmen, are somehow involved to it, and yet they are the ones investigating it. They made a committee investigating it. Now, let's take a look at the situation of the Philippine National Police. Let's just use this as an analogy. Okay, I think I talked about this in a tidbit, but let me just explain it further. So when a policeman is suspected to be involved in a criminal activity, immediately that policeman is relieved of his position, sometimes suspended without pay, and an investigation will follow through. Okay? The reason why they are relieved of their position, sometimes transferred, or sometimes they're taken into they are like they are asked to report to an office for clerical work instead of working their main job, is that so that they cannot influence the investigation. They have what they're calling an internal affairs division, and they are the ones in charge of investigating it. So it's a separate unit, right, from the police. So the policeman will not be investigated. At times it is, but the policeman will not be investigated by his fellow policeman. It will be investigated by somebody, a separate body, right? Sometimes. Now the reason for that is that so that the result of the investigation will be 100% accurate, without any bias and without any influence from that police officer. Okay? So that the result of the investigation is credible, right? Right? And I think everybody would agree that that is a good system. So say, for example, in your group, if one of you is suspected to be, let's say in a group, if one of you is being suspected of being conducting irregular activities, it would be right and proper to get an investigator who is not a member of that group to investigate it, so that the result will be credible. There will be no influence by any other member of the group. That's why, okay, the result is believable, right? A third party group, that is always the ideal case. Now, here right now in the Philippines, what's happening is that the Congress, the Senate, is conducting their investigation. I don't know if they can, let's say, for example, if some names of senator will come out there, I don't know if they can invite them as a resource speaker. Same is true with the Congress. The lower house is also conducting their investigation, and actually the most dropped name of a congressman in this issue is there's one name I don't want to mention it. And are they gonna invite that congressman to talk or to be as a resource speaker? So I consider this two investigation as a theatrical show. It's not in aid of legislation. It is in aid of visibility, in aid of creating optics, that they should look good. The Senate should look good. The Senate should be seen as doing something against this issue. Now, you're not doing something against that issue because you are involved in that issue, allegedly. Even the Congress saying, right? So, yeah, I would still go for, the mayor of Baguio City has been making noise on this issue for like the longest time, ever since. Not just the flood control, actually, he's been flagging a lot of DPWH project for like a long time. So I would agree with his suggestion that they should create a a third group. I mean, an outsider group. What do you call one? Okay, a group to investigate this situation, this corruption issue, not just the flood control, if they can go back to the decades, I don't know if they can have a paper trail for them. But then, let's just focus here. This corruption this past 3 years. Okay, so I would agree that a separate independent group, independent body should be given an authority, should be formed, should be given an authority to investigate this. I do not have any like faith on the result, that the result of this two houses investigation is credible. None at all. None at all. If the investigation, I think, is maybe try to cover up something, I don't know. But the head of the committee in the lower Congress said that, well, people will still say something if we're not going to investigate, so we'd rather take the risk of facing the criticism while doing something than receiving criticism and doing nothing. And that is a good point. That is a good point. At the same time, yeah, people are also well, people are also get being made aware. So yeah, sometimes people love watching the Senate investigation because it is like television show at times. You can see comedy, you can see like drama, and you can see how a senator behave in an investigation. So at times they are infringing on the right of the resource person. In my opinion, I'm not a lawyer, but I guess it is. They are times with their line of questioning, and sometimes you'll find line of questionings that are stupid. I don't know. Yeah, but that's how I see it. And a lot of people love watching the investigation just because of that, because sometimes it's a freak show. Yeah, but then at the very least, people are being made aware that these things here are happening, and that helps our fellow Filipinos. That helps them decide or be able to make a decision on who to place there in that seat of legislators in the next election, right? Yeah, through this. And at the same time, people are being made aware that there are things happening here. So at least those investigations are helpful in that side of discussion, right? That we need to help the people be aware, tell the people that this is happening, right?
Swirling clouds in violet haze, reflecting those inside the kind of
And one more thing. That's, and just hoping that they can create a law to prevent this. Second, I'm just wishing. No, a corruption issue. One economist just said, I just watched this a bit. Professor Winnie Monson just said that Filipino is world class. Is in the world class level when it comes to corruption. Well. We've gotten good. We've gotten so good because this has been, I think, the birth of the Filipino nation is also the start of corruption. Ever since the time of revolution, the time of, yeah, people are doing things. Um, I think the earliest issue we can find there is the oh yeah, but anyway, that's a different one. The money that was sent to buy rifles or weapons and never came back, things like that. Um, conniving with the with the foreigners for to forward your self interest. Yeah, that's the source of corruption. Okay. Thinking of your self interest before the interest of the nation is the start of corruption, the start of the start of greed. So yeah, ever since we're starting this nation, there's already corruption, and the corruption also there's also an issue of corruption just right after the World War II of those surplus things, right? So like corruption issue of corruption is with all the leaders of this country. There's an issue of corruption. That's why we can say we're world class over. Anyway, going back to this, there's this story by one of the um member of COA that said that on the on the um on the question that was there some lawmakers that were made accountable because of the corruption issue or corruption case. And one auditor said that there's this she flagged a project that she I think found out that is corrupt back when she was pregnant. She was pregnant and was working on this, and she found out through his investigation and that this project is corrupt. There are some money missing, so she filed a case, Sanding Bayan, and then years went by, and nobody was held accountable until 18 years later. 18 years later, a the there is the decision of the court came out, and of course, at least it is favorable and it's against that corrupt official. But then it came out 18 years later. She was pregnant when she found it out, and her child now is 18 years old when the result came out. So, if the justice or the process of justice takes that long, then I I don't think that's a good sign on the side of holding someone accountable if they steal money from the government, you know? So, yeah, because you have to go through the process. I know they will for sure if they were found guilty at the lower part of the court, they will be appealing the case, like appealing it until it go to the highest branch. Yeah, and that's the saddest part on trying to hold these people accountable. Yeah. So I think the only safeguard that we can have so we can fight corruption is really betting on this before they hold office. You have to really check what they're doing before they hold office. Because once they're there, okay, it is and even if we found out that they stole money from us, okay, the chance of having them accountable or holding them accountable is slim to none. It's slim to none. You know. So I always go back to what I said a while ago. We have to really choose if they are worthy to hold office in the government. Because once they're there, it's very difficult to hold them accountable once they made mistake. Yeah, that's our country. That's our country, right? Yeah. And just we're just talking here about flood control. Yeah, we're not yet talking about other projects like building roads, farm to market roads that are sometimes, maybe the budget is for two lanes of farm to market road. Now, if they're gonna open that, it will become one lane. You know, because corruption, pavement of those roads, concreting of those roads. At times, they will produce they will lay out a plan of say 4 kilometer concrete. Now the output will be 2 kilometers. You would be thankful if it is 2 kilometers. The worst is sometimes only 500 meters. Yeah, allegedly. We've seen this. People know about this. People know about this. And it's not just the congressmen, not just the congressmen doing this. Local officials, mayors, are receiving kickbacks too. That's the SOP. A funny thing. SOP means a standard operating procedure. SOP. That's SOP, standard operating procedure. For you to have a project, you have to already pay the percentage, a certain percentage of kickback to the leader, say mayor or governor or barangay captain, where you can do the project. Yeah, it's happening. It's an open secret. It's an open secret. Now, why are people not talking about it? Because, of how the law works. We don't have protection. Whistleblowers don't have protection. People have seen what happened to June Lucera, the NBN CDE deal whistleblower who keeps on crying on TV. I'm sorry. Yeah, but just go. I, I I don't know, but every time I see that guy back then, back when the issue about the NBN CDE deal was happening, he keeps on crying in front of the TV and on camera. And just saw a podcast interview with him recently, and now I understand why. Because actually his life was in danger during that. His family's life was in danger during that. He went against a very powerful person, a big but short person. person. And that's a problem. Whistleblowers have no protection against retaliation from those people. Yeah, ordinary people like me would be burdened to produce, to produce evidence once I accuse someone. Because that's the process of law, right? It is your responsibility. It is upon you to produce evidence to prove the guilt of the person, or else you will be sued for libel, right? Those things. That's why it became an open secret. Everybody knows. Everybody knows. Okay. Now the reason why, and I think like what we talked about on the recent episode with the Gorong Magsasaka, is that the people complaining right now are also once are contractors. Back when they were doing the job, back when they're the contractor, they're taking a certain part of the pie. They're slicing their part, right? They're stealing like 40, 30%. But right now, with this ghost project, the ghost project means they took all the money. There's no project there. So that's the worst. That's the worst. I think it still is. Yeah, we are still saying that. Oh, yeah, they just took a little bit of it, but at least they left something. And still, that's illegal. That's against the law. Against the law. You see some like projects like the one that I posted back weeks ago of there's this trending issue about the bridge that was built without a river. Well, they made an excuse about that. Like breaking the pavement of the road, even if it's still good, just to So there's a lot of corruptions happening. Classroom that can be built with an amount of million peso. But if they are to build it, it would cost 2 to 3 million peso. We've seen those. It's an open secret. You know. So how come that this issue is just starting to get traction now? Again, because we're still deliberating on the budget for 2026, and I'm pretty sure after that one is done, this will go silent again. But we have to not let it die. We should keep on asking. It's good that the president made like that sumbong mo sa Pangulo, like hotline, created a hotline where everyone can report what they perceive as an anomalous project by the DPWH. But after that, what's gonna happen? What are the things that we can do to stop this? And what should we do to those who committed this crime? This is a crime. This is a robbery. They robbed the Filipino nation. The greatest robbery of all time. And what are they gonna do? Okay. I would only believe that the government's doing something here when we will see the heads of politicians, regardless of party, roll. But if they're only like persecuting a politician that is from another party, and that's not real justice. They're just creating theatrics again. So, yeah, where does this thing go? What is the exact exact objective of the government in conducting investigation, and who should really investigate this? There should be an independent body to investigate this, independent from the government. That's my take on this. Yeah, well, Senate and Congress can investigate, but I would say it's just a waste of money. I don't think the result will be credible. I wouldn't think it's good for. Well, maybe they can use it to make a law, but I don't think it would be good. I think it would be protecting one of their own. Yeah, that's just my take. Hopefully, I'm wrong. Prove me wrong. What I'm saying. Prove me wrong. Yeah, this issue, man, killing me. Anyway, yeah, it's all of us, all Filipinos who have like a platform, should make a noise about this. Especially in my case. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking a while ago. Why entrust the building of school to DPWH? Why not give it to DepEd, right? Create an engineering department for engineering, like division under the Department of Education that will be solely responsible for creating education infrastructure. That's still that's still in the part of education. Yeah, I think that would be better rather than entrusting this to DPWH. I think DPWH should just be solely focused on the road infrastructure, and that's it. Yeah, because yeah, difficult to just thinking of it is exhausting. Maybe listening to it too is exhausting, right? Yeah, very. Just the recent event also wherein some result of the investigation was that they started blacklisting some contractors, right? So this contractors, private contractors, are now blacklisted. That means they cannot bid for project from the PWH, right? And that's good. That's good, right? But again, are they really the problem here? Because I would think that you have to blacklist also those politicians that has link on these projects. Yeah. How about them? How about them? Are we also going to blacklist these politicians? Are we going to hold them accountable in some way? Yeah, that's the question. It's That's the question that's waiting an answer from them. They blacklisted the politicians. They're going to, I mean, the contractors, what are they going to do with the politicians? Let's wait and see. Here by my side, I mean ecstasy. Yeah, it's difficult to think. Yeah. And speaking of contractors, I guess the Discayas are now are now Discayas are now blacklisted. I don't know. Hmm. Yeah. With I just I don't know if I shared this one. We already talked about this with the during the past episode about those um interviews by say journalists turned vloggers. I don't know if we call them vloggers. I guess I like I said before, vloggers are people making videos of what they're doing every day. It's vlogging, right? Well, definition is evolving. Let's just say content creators. So this journalist content creators featured the Discayas in their channel, and they featured them because they are accordingly a success story. They came from rags to riches, right? Well, the reason accordingly, and it's in the video in the show, is that the reason why they started to get rich is because when they started to work with DPWH, that was there, and you can see like you can see their cars. There are like 28 luxury cars, and one of the reason why they bought one is because they like the umbrella inside the car. It's just fun. If that's your reason for buying a car, that means that you have a lot of money. You don't know how to use it, you know. And no one, I would say, no one in the Philippines can reach that status of life in a short amount of time. Yep, nobody. You can get rich, but not that rich, you know. Yeah, and because they're running for office, that's why. Because they really love to win. Yeah, that's why their judgment was clouded. I mean, it's stupid. It's stupid to like have yourself be interviewed in the media and would think that it would go away immediately once it's in the internet forever. They didn't think about that. They didn't think about it. Now it's haunting them. And Vico, the mayor of Pasig, made a post about that, claiming that this journalist were paid to feature this family in their channel, their platform, and they're claiming these two journalists also are claiming that no, that didn't happen. Well, anyway, the issue here is that Are you allowed to feature someone when you get paid, or are you allowed to receive money for a feature to feature someone? And there are a lot of people saying, no, if you're a journalist, you should not. Christian Isguerra. I like that guy, Christian Isguerra. I think he also has a podcast in Spotify, Factverse, said that you should not. Uh, I don't know what they studied in the journalism or university. I mean, in mass comm, but apparently, if you're a journalist, you should not receive gift or payment to feature something, and because it will taint your reputation accordingly, you know. And of course, you got paid, you cannot really you cannot really present a balanced presentation of the person, right? You would be for sure during the conversation you would be kissing their ass. For you the word, but that's just a reality, right? You wouldn't be able to ask hard questions. You would be pampering them. You would be creating questions that would like raise their status, their profile, you know. So yeah, Christian Isguerra has a point on that one. You're a journalist now. I think you also already heard my point also that I don't see anything wrong with it. Getting paid to do something, I don't. I think I already said this one back when I had a podcast um with my friend Freddie Gainat. I don't really care if people are being paid, content creators are being paid to create a content, right? Featuring a person. So my reason here is that each of this content creator works so hard to build up their portfolio. So they are now like a network, you know? They're now like a network with thousands of viewers, I mean, or millions of viewers. They're a network. They're now like an ABS, CBN, or JMA. They're a network. Only the difference is that well, they're only one, right? So they have made themselves a a a a network. They made themselves like a channel or a station. So if they are going to ask for payment on something that they will do, then you cannot really blame them. They created themselves into a market. The problem is the only thing is that uh, their personal name became a business, right? So that's the difference. But then they created themselves as a business. Then they have a right to. They have a right to charge people on the content that they're going to do. Well, some people will say, how about the principles? Are they selling the principles? Not necessarily the case. Okay, there's a motorcycle passing by. It's not necessarily the case. It's not necessarily selling the principles. It's just that, again, like they turn their name into a business name. And they have every right to charge people or to accept payment if they need to. Okay? The only place where I draw the line is that you have to, okay, you have to tell your audience that what you did for that person or that content was paid by someone else, Mr. So and so, like that. You have to disclose that a payment was given to you to create that content. Yeah, that's where I draw the line. You have to inform your audience that a payment was made so you can create that, you know. And I cite the the process of Mr. Mobile, Michael Fisher. If you don't know him, Michael Fisher is a gadget reviewer, smartphone reviewer. I would say. I don't think it's just a smartphone. He reviews gadget, and sometimes the his trip. I mean, I think yeah, most of the times his trip is being sponsored by the company of the phone that he's reviewing sometimes. And he discloses that. That's how I know about it. He discloses it and tells that my input on this one was not affected by them. They have no creative input on my video. They just sponsored my like this and like that. So he disclosed that he received payment from that company, right? Like that. And there's nothing wrong about that. There's nothing wrong about that. And you can also see how fair his review is, because you can really see the you can see the cons and the pros. He will relay it to you clear as day, even if he received payment from that company. So yeah, that's for me. That's where I draw the line. You have to disclose that you were paid. Okay. As to the journalist, I would say, yeah, I'd agree with them, with Mr. Sguero about that one. That you have to hold yourself to a different standard than that of a vlogger. Because the vlogger or content creators, because content creators are different. And these two journalists are journalists first, content creators second. So they have to hold themselves to a higher standard. Now, Vico also stated that when he was asked about this in a vlog and was asked to get his reaction, and he said that I already said what I said, and what I want, what's good about what I said is that we're talking about this, and he's right. We're talking about this issue, and yeah. At the same time, thanks to the content of these two journalists, we already know now we know that that these guys are doing something that's not legal, right? So yeah, still the content they made, whether even if it's controversial, it served its purpose. And we're also talking about, are journalists allowed to do that? Maybe, I don't know, but yeah, maybe in some ways journalists should hold themselves to a higher standard than that of us podcasters and bloggers and other content creators. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. And again, let's continue making noise about this. Okay? Raising awareness on what's happening. Corruption is really, really like, our country is world class in terms of it. And if we are not gonna talk. We're not gonna say something about it. And by the way, no one is impervious to this. All of them did something, with the exceptions of few maybe, but most of them have created something or created irregularities that led us to this. So, yeah. We are hopeful that some people are not. That's why we need an independent organization that will conduct an investigation to this, so we can clearly see who created the crime, and so that we can clearly see who should we not put in the office the next time. Yeah. So, yep. I think that's it for now. That's it for now. And we'll be seeing you again next time. Bye-bye. See you around.